Prior to hydrometer analysis, a sieve analysis was performed. 500 grams of an air-dried sample was put through a wet sieve, and then sieved past the number 200 sieve, and then dried.
We took 5 grams of sodium hexametaphosphate, a dispersion agent, mixed it with 125 milliliters of water, combined it, mixed it to create a concentration of 40 grams per liter. Next, we're going to zero the beaker on the scale.
After we've zeroed the beaker on the scale, we take the soil that we've gotten from the sieve analysis, and we want to add 50 grams to the beaker. After we've added approximately 50 grams to the beaker, we want to record the exact mass of the soil that we've added to the beaker. Then we want to mix the solution, and after thorough mixing, we want to let it sit for 5 minutes. This is a deviation from the ASTM standard, which suggests that it sit for 16 hours.
After letting our specimen soak for 5 minutes, we're going to transfer from our beaker into the mechanical dispersion cup, being careful not to lose any part of our sample. The remaining needs to be washed out with distilled water, so we get everything into the dispersion cup. After transferring all of our specimen into the dispersion cup, we're going to make sure that the volume is about half full. The amount of water that you add does not matter. After adding your water, you're going to get it mechanically dispersed for 1 minute.
Now that our solution has been mechanically dispersed for 1 minute, we want to carefully transfer the solution into an empty 1,000 milliliter graduated cylinder. As we do so, we want to be careful not to lose any particles. Just as before, we want to take a distilled water bottle and wash out all residue, making sure that we get all of the soil sample. We also want to make sure that we wash off the sample from the sides of the graduated cylinder. After doing this, we want to fill up the graduated cylinder all the way to 1,000 milliliters. Now that we've filled up our test cylinder all the way to 1,000 milliliters, reading from the bottom of the meniscus, we want to prepare a calibration or correction factor cylinder that will be used to correct for the change in solution density due to the addition of sodium hexametaphosphate. So we take another 1,000 milliliter graduated cylinder and fill it with distilled water or demineralized water and add the same concentration of sodium hexametaphosphate, which is 40 grams per liter. After we've finished forming both our test cylinder and our calibration cylinder, we want to place a rubber stopper on the top of each cylinder, because we are going to agitate the samples by turning them a full 180 degrees. We're going to do this for 1 minute in order to complete the dispersion process for both the soil and the sodium hexametaphosphate. After completing 1 minute of agitation, we want to set both our test specimen and our calibration into a single location and leave them there for the remainder of the time. Then we want to begin recording time. This is your hydrometer. Hydrometer readings will be taken at 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 250 minutes, 1,440 minutes, or 24 hours. All of those readings will be taken for the test sample. For the calibration cylinder, only readings from 5 minutes on will be taken. There's no need for a 2-minute reading for the calibration cylinder. This is a thermometer. A thermometer will be placed in the calibration cylinder, and readings will be taken at every time interval. 30 seconds before the 2-minute time interval commences, we want to begin to place our hydrometer into our test sample. When we place the hydrometer into the test sample, we want to be careful not to drop the hydrometer into the sample. We want to lower it slowly and carefully into the sample until it is stabilized and floating. We want to be careful to let it bob and move as little as possible. Then we will take a reading upon the hydrometer stem, reading from the top of the meniscus.
Starting in 5 minutes, we're going to take hydrometer readings for our calibration cylinder. Be careful to not let your hydrometer bob. Make sure you read from the top of the meniscus.
After taking final readings at 24 hours, it's time to clean up.